Hey guys, welcome back to Introvert's Take. I'm Tim with my co-host Ryan, and today we're going to be comparing Sam Raimi's Spider-Man to Mark Webb's The Amazing Spider-Man. And then later, should time allow, we will be breaking down the final trailer for Rise of Skywalker and potentially going over some of our theories about what this movie might entail.
Maybe. We'll see. This is a versus video. We're going to say overall in the beginning which movie we think is better, which origin story pretty much we think is better, and then we'll be breaking down the reasons as to why. And I don't know if we agree on this. I'm pretty sure we do. We'll see. So I'm just going to say Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, 2002 was that movie. I'm sorry, but it's not getting beaten by Amazing Spider-Man. I'm sorry. So I'm saying right off the bat, it's not even really that close to me, really. I mean, it had a couple pros, Amazing Spider-Man, but it's not even close. So
I just last night rewatched The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, and going by scene, taking down, notes and whatever on what I liked and didn't like, I found there were a lot more pros than there were cons.
There were some good pros. However, the cons were too big. The cons were the biggest parts.
The cons, I will say, were very glaring.
For me,
and
really bad.
But at the end of the day, I understand a little bit of why they did what they did. I understand the route that they took, and I appreciated the new kind of...
I understood some of it, but then some of it I was like, wait, no, you can't do that. So we'll go into that.
So how about this? One of the most glaring ones that most people give the movie shit for is making Peter Parker a skater boy,
That's whatever. That's obviously bad for sure.
So
we'll compare that. So Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker, he had the skateboard and the coat and the hair and the sometimes glasses and the attitude, compared to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, who was the nerd, tripped on the bus, was clumsy, definitely couldn't skate, for sure. There's athleticism that's required for that, and he has none of that. He's a huge nerd. His only friend is an also outcast Harry Osborn. I mean, I guess you can give Andrew credit because he has no friends whatsoever, but Peter Parker, the Tobey Maguire Peter Parker, has definitely got the nerd more down than him.
And I agree with that, but I will say, as you see through Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker, he does have some athleticism to him, but he is also quite clumsy. You see him in his very first scene get hit in the head with a basketball.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You see him...
Is that a clumsy thing, or is that, you just threw a ball at my head?
It's more of a slow reflexes, and it's more than just that. It's more when the basement floods and Uncle Ben tosses him a piece of meat for his face, he barely catches it. It's, a sudden, kind of juggle it a little bit because he's not, there.
Yeah.
So that kind of shows it in a more subtle way rather than Sam Raimi's, who you see him, trip and fall and that kind of thing.
The bus and all that stuff. Yeah. And another thing I was going to say, that Uncle Ben in that movie, he wasn't bad. He definitely wasn't Cliff Robertson, Uncle Ben, for sure.
No, he was not better, but...
There's no bias going on there because he's the OG. It's not like that. It's just his overall portrayal as Uncle Ben. I mean, no bias. I mean, I love Chris Robinson, but Cliff Robinson. But I'm just going straight off of Uncle Ben portrayal, to the comics.
Okay.
And sure, he had some of his wise moments to Peter, but he was also kind of a wise ass a little bit. He wasn't bad, but his responsibility line to Peter is kind of lame.
So
it's okay.
He
did good with what he was given, but it wasn't anything special.
So I'm gonna say this as far as his responsibility line, they had to throw it in because it was such an important part of
very important.
Sam Raimi's, but they couldn't just do the same line again because,
But they could have done it in a different way.
They adapted it to that story, though, by saying, you're so much like your father, and he believed it was his responsibility to do those things.
Which is what I'm going to say.
So I enjoyed that, the fact that they wove it in properly into that specific storyline instead of just going out there and repeating the exact same line.
That's fair. However, that entire Peter's parents subplot, boring, uneventful, unnecessary, stupid, bad.
See, I
didn't need it, didn't want it, don't care.
I would say that was the case for Spider-Man 2. For The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but in The Amazing Spider-Man, it worked.
No,
and I say it works because
too big.
It traumatizes him throughout the entire rest of the movie, which you would think would be a part of Peter Parker's life, which would affect him in his later years when he's, when he's growing up, when he would want his father.
That's something
around,
that you
when
should
he would
focus
want
on in the
his
second
mother
movie,
around.
though. The first movie should be he gets his powers, he needs to be responsible. It should be him becoming Spider-Man.
That's what it was.
Not him trying to figure out what his parents were and the secret, like the formula and all that shit with the lizard.
I will say this: the fact that his father worked with and created the spiders seemed a little unnecessary.
Yeah, that was way too. Like, you didn't need to connect him to that.
Yeah, and they explain that in the second movie, but it still doesn't make.
I get
much
that was an
sense.
excuse to get him to go to Oscorp, but he could have gone to Oscorp to see Gwen and then seen something. But
Yeah, there were ways around that.
Gwen Stacy being
Oh.
a junior in high school.
No,
hold on.
They're seniors.
Hold on. They're juniors because they're seniors next year when they graduate. In the next movie when they graduate. She's 17 years old. She says it in the movie.
Then why does he?
No, hold on. Gwen Stacy being... I liked Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy, but the biggest thing I didn't like was the fact that she's 17 years old and she's an Oscorp scientist.
No, she's not. She's an intern.
No. Even then.
She's the head
17
intern.
years old.
Hear me out.
So
I-
I'm aware that that's like a college to be an intern at fucking Oscorp.
I agree with that, but you also have to remember.
She's smart. I get that for sure.
Yeah, she goes to Oxford. Well, she gets accepted to Oxford in the second
this
film.
is
But
different.
also,
Like,
hear me out. In that introduction scene, because I remember that scene very, very clearly, he says, Dr. Connors says, "This is Gwen Stacy, a senior at Midtown High.
Next year,
She's my
next
head
year is
intern.
her
She'll
senior
be-"
year in that next movie.
I'm just saying, she's a senior at Midtown High, and she's my head intern. Like, you guys will be
Either way,
running this tour.
It's still a little sketchy.
I
That's
see
like a
what you're
college.
saying.
That's a college thing to be an intern.
Yeah,
for sure.
but they're also she and Peter are very, very.
I'm
bright.
aware.
And
I'm aware.
Also, can I just say, I wrote down my notes for this, and I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different times I just write down the name Gwen Stacy because in my mind she is by far the best part of that whole movie.
Oh
and
no,
I
she's
absolutely
Emma Stone is great. A little problem is like everyone shits on Toby for being like a little too old and stuff like that, but Andrew and Toby were both 26 when they were first Spider-Man. Andrew was definitely a little old, and so was Emma Stone. Was playing high schoolers in 2007 in Superbad. This is 2012, and she's still pulling out. Like, she looks a little old to be a high schooler.
No,
she does.
I have a bias towards Emma Stone.
No, I love Emma Stone, but I'm Emma Stone. Like, she did great. She was excellent, like Gwen Stacy, but she still looked a little old to be 17 when she was like 20. She was like 24.
I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna get into the actual age, like, and what they all look like, because that's kind of. If you want to argue that that's also a technology thing, then you could say that.
No, I'm not going to sit here and say that. All I'm trying to say is you can't sit here and say Tobey Maguire is too old when they definitely had problems. Like the Amazing Spider-Man definitely was a little bit of an aging cast.
How about this? Us being seniors in high school and looking at what they look like.
They don't look like that.
I know they do seem definitely older and more sure of themselves than we are, just as base level comparison. And it's the kind of thing where Gwen Stacy in Amazing Spider-Man was, like I said, hands down the best part of that whole movie. And what the relationship she had with Peter, I think...
It was good.
I think as far as their relationships between Peter and Mary Jane and between Peter and Gwen, I like the Peter-Gwen combo
Peter-Gwen, the chemistry is good. But like... Another problem with those movies is people said their chemistry was so good it didn't even seem like a Spider-Man movie. It seemed like a teen romance movie, which is I kind of agree with that on a certain level because it did just seem like, him and Gwen. But
they definitely overdo it in the second. Well, I gotta stop saying the second movie because we keep going into that. But
Andrew, as a nerd, I said he was decent job being awkward. Like he had the twitches, he had the fidgeting, and he was okay. However, comparing it to Tobey Maguire, who can't even. When he sees Mary Jane in the lunchroom, can't even get a word out of his mouth when she trips and he catches her.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say, when he gets bit, the transformation scene, it was not dramatic enough. It seemed like more of a creepy crawl. Like, it didn't seem like, this is a dramatic scene.
So here's the thing. And I'm just going Okay, yeah.
I'm
if you wanna
saying, and,
finish.
and the music that played when that happened, when the spider was the worst piece of music I've ever listened to in my life.
In the Amazing Spider-Man, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to
That was
specify.
it was just because it wasn't like the spiders coming down on him like in the first one. You know, it's dramatic. This is how it happens. This is why he be like. It was just he's a bunch of spiders and he walks away and back of my neck, what the fuck was that? Now I'm gonna keep living my life. Like Peter was like,
Oh.
you can see it land on him and then you see it bite him right in the wrist.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off a little bit now. I like the transformation scene in Amazing Spider-Man as much as I liked it in Sam Raimi's
Really?
Spider-Man. And I say that because Andrew reacted the way a normal person would react. Instead of just, falling asleep and waking up and like, oh, cool, dope, everything's cool. What he did was
That's fair. He was surprised.
He was scared. He went online and was trying to research it. He he kept the spider. Like you see when he, finds the spider and he's all pale and, sweaty and all of it. He's like freaking out a little bit. So he immediately goes to his computer and is trying to find out what bit him. Like, and there's the whole sequence of him trying to do
You know what I realized, by the way?
What?
I thought Harry was in this movie. I thought he was in both. He's not in this
No,
movie. Yeah.
no.
I thought he was, but he's not.
And I'm going to say something about Osborn continuity in a second. But just finishing my thought on the actual transformation scene is I myself would react much similarly to the way
for
Andrew
sure.
reacted.
But I
rather
still
than-
think Toby was definitely like in the beginning. He was like big change, but like
Yeah, that's
as
suspect.
because that was just the abs. But as the day goes on, and he starts sticking to shit, and then the lunchroom happens, he panics and he's starting to get just as scared as Andrew. And the reason he didn't go look stuff up is because that wasn't really a thing back then in 2002. You couldn't just Google shit instantly. And he's scared. He runs. He just dips out of school in the middle of the school day. Yep. It's lunch. He fights Flash, and he says, "Peter, where are you going?" And Peter just runs out. And then he goes and he's up at the wall. He looks at his hands.
Okay, yeah, you're
They
right.
start coming out, and he starts climbing the wall. And
But-
then he goes nuts too.
Yeah.
But I'm also gonna say this: I didn't really like not his actual bite, but his body transformation was very, very, very too similar to the first one. Like the flashing and the DNA things was the Coke thing was whatever, but before that, I'm talking about when he was just sleeping and it just showed the flashing and the lights and the DNA strands.
So
That was too close.
I'm gonna say
to the
this
first
as far as actual body transformation. They didn't with Andrew Garfield in Amazing Spider-Man. They didn't showcase it as much as they did with
They
Tobey.
needed to really showcase, yeah.
And what they did instead was they basically put tighter shirts on Andrew Garfield, so
Yeah.
you see more definition, which didn't end up working out because his actual spider suit, which we'll get to eventually,
He was skinny.
it was kind of it was spandex, so it should have been tighter, but it didn't define any kind of muscle on him. Unlike Tobey's, which there are some scenes in Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 2, and definitely even Spider-Man 3, where he almost looks too big because his muscle mass is
Yeah.
it's very, very defined as far as Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield went the complete opposite route.
I did like his, how Toby had the next morning he woke up. Andrew had that too. I liked that. It was creative with the sink and the toothpaste. I liked that.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's being creative and doing it a different way instead of having it, it's similar, but it's not that similar, so it's our own thing. That was good. I liked that.
Oh, well, hold on. Sorry. I just want to cut you off real quick again because I said I was going to talk about Osborn continuity. It won't take me too long. But
I'm going to say something on that too.
yeah, so Osborn continuity. As far as Oscorp in Amazing Spider-Man, I really, really enjoyed that Norman Osborn was almost.
I hated that. He
Oh
was
no,
dead.
I liked it because
My point, you don't need to kill.
he didn't need to be a character as long as you knew that he was there.
If you're gonna put him in the movie, you can't. What I said, his character was wasted. You didn't need to kill him in order to have Harry become the Green Goblin. He doesn't need to die.
That's Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's not Amazing Spider-Man.
But I'm saying that's what they let it up to be. And why? If you're gonna have Norman Osborn be in that universe, do something with him. He's a huge part in Spider-Man in the comics. A huge part.
and I know that.
That's
but
like making Mary Jane
we-
just a classmate.
what we have to do is we have to kind of erase the fact that we know what happens in Spider-Man 2 and just look at it as what he is in Spider-Man 1 because
And
we
that's-
know he's dying.
And they mention him a couple times.
Well, they mentioned him a couple of times, but it's the whole point for Connor's turning himself into the Lizard.
Yeah, I know.
because he gets his funding pulled. Because he
and
won't.
that Connors, I'm gonna say right now, he was boring. He was
Wow.
he was okay. No, when he was okay, but he was boring. He was a little bland. I did like how they demonstrated Peter smarts by Peter solving the algorithm for him in his house. I liked that. That was good.
That was the one part I didn't like, but
Because that's demonstrating Peter smarts. You always have to do that.
no, but I was
And
sorry. Just talking about that for a moment, and rewinding a little bit to Andrew Garfield not being nerd enough. Andrew Garfield, his Peter Parker didn't seem as awkward as Tobey's because he used his intellect to get him, like his intellect and his quick wit to get him out of awkward scenarios, which isn't necessarily Peter Parker trait, but something I truly enjoyed. So
Yeah.
when, say, what's a good example? When he's talking to Gwen after he humiliates Flash Thompson and, with the basketball ripping off the rim and that kind of thing before he goes and figures.
by the way, I want to say that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing that I hated that Flash scene.
Oh, I love that
No,
Flash.
no, because that's not what. There's no. Where's the responsibility, man? Okay, it wasn't even a stand up to Flash scene.
Okay.
Listen to me. It wasn't a stand up to Flash scene. He just bullied Flash. Like he went in there knowing he had powers and just beat his ass. Like Toby was like, you know what, man? I don't want to fight you, man. I wouldn't want to fight me neither. Like Toby, he came up to Toby, and Tobey Maguire did what he could, and he won the fight, and he was surprised. Andrew walked up to him. He walked up to him knowing he had powers, and was just irresponsible,
Right.
rude, bullied him. That's not what you
I
do. That's
completely agree
not
with
what
that.
Spider-Man is.
I completely agree with that, and I'm glad you said that. But that's not Flash Thompson, though.
Oh,
That Flash Thompson that we see in the Amazing Spider-Man, I think, is way
more fleshed
better
out. Yeah,
than-
because he didn't. That wasn't really important in
but-
Spider-Man 1.
So, are you familiar with what Flash Thompson becomes? in the
Yes,
comics?
he's a huge fan of Spider-Man. I like how in the end of the movie he had the Spider-Man
He's got
shirt.
the Spider-
I
but-
like
but
that.
he becomes
yeah.
Agent Venom.
Yeah, I'm aware. All I'm
Which
saying is I
could see that Flash becoming.
I liked that. That was cool. The Flash itself wasn't bad, but the way he handled Flash was just so
Yes,
bad.
the way Peter Parker and Flash interacted in the Amazing Spider-Man was
So
poorly
bad.
done. Very poorly done.
And Uncle Ben's death, we're gonna get to that.
Oh yeah.
That was it was really kind of lame. Once again,
It was quick.
it was
wasn't-
the same kind of thing with Spider-Man 2002. He does something
except it was-
out of spite. He's mad. He's mad at Uncle Ben. For something that he shouldn't even really be mad at Uncle Ben for. No.
I was okay. So
He
I will
comes
say,
home late.
As far as that
completely ditches
scene,
his responsibility to pick up Aunt May from
I know.
work.
As far as that scene, I will say he did act a bit whiny. Is what I picked up when he's confronted about coming home late because he's over there practicing his fucking spider abilities and then going to Oscorp. He does come off whiny because they confront him about you needed to pick up your Aunt May, and he hits him with the where's my dad at So that was kind of unnecessary, and I understand that he was in a bit of a tight spot, especially because Uncle Ben brought up how the responsibility of what his father would have done, and that can kind of hit a nerve because it's like, he didn't think he was responsible to take care of me though.
But
And I get that, but it was a bit out of place and he came off a bit whiny. So when he went and he got shit on again later at the store, I kind of get that, but it wasn't nearly enough. Like Peter Parker still would have tried to do the right thing, I think, in that scenario instead of getting cheated out of hundreds of dollars.
hundreds.
The way
When he robbed the
Tobey
store?
Maguire got cheated out of hundreds of dollars, like
That's
Like,
actually
that's
because that's actually a real reason to get
I
mad,
said, yeah,
not
that's-
because the guy cut you short on something he.
yeah,
Even though it's kind of jerk, he that's the lot. Like you didn't have enough money, dude.
yeah.
And I was kind of also he took the fucking cents out of the lottery thing and he go take that. I was like, no.
That's it. So as far as Uncle Ben's death,
it wasn't morally
yeah.
okay.
The motive for Tobey Maguire's
was so much better.
So much more understandable, so much better. And for Andrew, they tried, but they just couldn't.
And it was the
couldn't
same
tackle it.
scenario, and it was just like, oh, okay, he died because Peter was being stupid again.
Right.
Like it was, and his death was all right. The Uncle Ben, he was a decent Uncle Ben. He was not bad.
Right. But something huge about Uncle Ben's death that they flesh out through not just the rest of Spider-Man and
Yeah,
Tobey Maguire's, but they flesh on Spider-Man 2 more.
responsibility.
Not even that is Peter's guilt. Peter's
Oh,
guilt about
guilt.
being the
And-
reason that Uncle Ben.
and
We never
the
see
only
that.
reason, the biggest thing is Tobey Maguire. What I love about Tobey Maguire's portrayal in those movies are he is Spider-Man because Uncle Ben wants him to be. It's something that he should do. Being Spider-Man is an undertaking. He does it because he knows it's right and it's responsible. However, my biggest flaw with this movie is the fact that
With Amazing Spider-Man.
with Amazing Spider-Man, yes, Andrew Garfield is only Spider-Man. He's not even Spider-Man until halfway through the movie. All he does is try to find Uncle Ben's killer. That's not being Spider-Man. He doesn't use his powers for good at all until the first time you see the fucking lizard. He doesn't stop crimes. He doesn't save people. He only looks for Uncle Ben's killer that entire time.
Well, he stops crimes, but
no.
it's
There's
it's a personal
no
ven-
responsibility
human-
involved at
and
all.
I
in that.
completely agree with you, but I'm saying he does stop crime, but it's personal vendetta, so
That's
it's
it.
not
He's
Spider-Man.
not stopping crimes because he knows it's the right thing to do. He's just trying to find who killed his uncle. It's not about who killed the uncle. It's about your uncle
Why the uncle
died,
died.
and you have these abilities. You need to use them for the greater good, not just to find your uncle's killer so you can have vengeance. That's so wrong. He's only doing it for himself. Meanwhile, Tom McGuire's Peter, is over here, saving women in the street from getting molested and stuff like that. He's saving banks. He's doing everything he can to be the best for New York. And the suit is whatever, but that's the biggest thing. This Peter responsibility just is not.
You mean Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah,
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're.
I'm not really gonna hate on the Spider-Man 1, 2002 at all because that movie I find.
I know it's one of your
pretty
precious
much.
movies, and
Let's compare villains now. The Dr. Connors versus Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin, played by Willem Dafoe.
So of course this is gonna be, however you take this, but Green Goblin was great and he's iconic, but the suit was eh.
Oh, the suit had problems, but for its time, we have to consider that.
I know, but
for its time, it wasn't bad.
Let me say.
I get it looked a little Power Rangery.
Let me just get my cons out there because I did enjoy what happened in Spider-Man 2002, but Green Goblin's suit was eh.
Mm-hmm.
Norman
Was
the internal torment was fantastically done, but
yes.
But I think the only reason that the character was saved because it could have very easily been just an overly campy dude in a suit rather than Green Goblin. The only reason that he was so good and that he ended up being a very compelling villain is that it was Willem Dafoe behind
I knew you
the
were
mask.
gonna say that. Well, that was a good cast.
I know, but I'm giving all of that
saying.
movie props for that because without Willem Dafoe, I don't think
I'm
that
sure,
character
but I also think without Willem Dafoe, they wouldn't have done that either. They wouldn't have gone that route, in my opinion. But before we get into villains, let's just say overall, as a portrayal of Peter Parker Spider-Man, I think Tom McGuire did a better job in that movie than Andrew Garfield did.
Right.
Just in the first movie, not overall portrayal of the characters. In that first movie, comparing, I think Tom McGuire did a better job as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, the undertaking, the responsibility, the sacrifice he has to make, especially in the end of the movie, which we'll get into in the end.
Yeah.
Which is another thing I really don't like about the Amazing Spider-Man, which we'll get into after.
So, and I agree with you. As far as Peter Parker, 100%, I give it to Tobey Maguire. And I didn't talk enough about Tobey Maguire. I've been mostly focusing on Andrew.
Yeah, so we got to switch to the old TDM.
But yeah, so I agree. As far as being a Peter Parker with solid motive, with the correct moral standpoint and everything, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was steadfast. He was Spider-Man.
And then we'll I think Tobey Maguire's suit was a little. I liked his suit better.
I didn't.
No, than the first Amazing Spider-Man. No, we're not. We're not talking about the second one. We're talking about the first movies only.
I know
That first suit, because Tobey Maguire has changed between the first and the second. It did
I
change a lot. Not a lot, but it changed enough.
It changed definitely though.
The logo changed and the lenses changed and the webbing changed, but
The logo on Tobey Maguire's first
and the
suit was
first
sad and
one
pathetic.
It was whatever. Yeah, I know. But it's also it's a kid in his dirt poor room in Queens making that.
Oh, yeah, and I get that, but
And
also,
Andrew's he looked like he was all right. The lenses were cool, but he just looked like a basketball. He was
I do
leather.
have definite issues with Andrew's suit. He has constantly muted colors, so it always makes him look like he's constantly dirty.
Say he's not bright enough.
Yeah, he's very muted, and the lines all of that, cover his entire suit. They almost look sticky, like adhesive.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So it gives off like this weird sheen.
Yeah, I don't really like
And
that either.
the sunglasses, I understand them because his senses and everything, but it didn't.
So-
It was overall Andrew Garfield's suit was too muted. Although I did like his Spider-Man logo on the back, like the
Yeah, it
back
was
of the
cool.
suit was
It was
very
cool.
clean, and his suit reveal, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it was cool. But I also feel like that material, if you sweat in that material, I feel like it would stick so
Well,
much.
it's spandex, yeah.
I know. But
See, but here's the thing: because it looked almost rubber. So
Yeah.
the thing with Andrews is because it was spandex and it was that it had that rubberized thing to it. Yes, it would stick to you, but Toby's almost looked more like cloth. So I feel like if you sweat in that and if that got wet, it would stick to you, but in a different way. It would be like literal, like it would just get like soaked in.
yeah,
Like if you were just wearing
yeah.
a shirt.
It
kind
would,
of,
it would
is
probably
what I
get a little like, but like Andrews, because if you're sweating and you go on rubber, it'll be like, when you pull it off like that. That would be so annoying.
Yeah.
And Toby's, maybe get a little damp, but you throw that in the washing machine and then you're chilling. Like,
Oh.
remember what happens in the second movie?
Dude, that happens in Andrew's second movie too.
I haven't seen the second movie in a while, but
Well, we don't see it, but yeah, it happens because May is like, "Oh, do your laundry." He's like, I'll do my own laundry, and then it's like, last time you did your laundry, you turned everything, blue
Yeah.
and red, and he's like, "I was watching the American flag." It's like, no, you weren't. Don't lie, don't lie.
And another thing I really didn't like about The Amazing Spider-Man is comparing this to Andrew and Toby. Andrew reveals his identity to Gwen Stacy way, way, way too early, and it's way, way, way unnecessary.
I get
Meanwhile,
it, though.
Peter's over here knowing that this girl
It's Toby.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just keep going. Peter. Toby's over here knowing that this girl fantasizes about him, and he's still, yes, in Aunt May's hospital room, she tells him about how Spider-Man's her dream guy, and how she doesn't feel that much about Harry anymore. Now Spider-Man's her guy. Like, she would...
Shout
her
out to
kiss-
Harry Osborn real quick.
it's her-
That's my
it's-
fucking guy, and he got shit on for like.
It's her dream man, and Toby has to sit there and you know what, take it and say, yeah, Spider-Man, he told me all the great things he thinks about you, and he can't say, you know what, I'm the guy that you fantasize about, and I've liked you since first grade, and I still can't say it because I'm responsible. That's what Spider-Man is. Andrew's over here like, you're kind of hot, and let me show you what I can do, and I'm gonna freaking web your ass as you walk away from me.
It was her hip.
Okay, either way.
Nah, come on.
either
He's
way-
not creepy. I mean, it was smooth.
Either
and
way,
that's
it was
not
like,
Peter
dude,
Parker,
wait,
but
what
it
is
was
your
clean.
entire reason to be Spider-Man if you're just going to reveal? Like, that's his thing. Especially,
I
I don't
will
want
say,
to,
though-
we'll dip into Spider-Man 2. In Spider-Man 2, he's still, everything he goes through, he still doesn't tell her until the end of the movie. And even then,
He doesn't do it intentionally. He's unmasked as he's fighting Doc
I know.
Ock, and
Like-
then she's like, "Oh,
like, the girl, he can't make it to her date. And he still's like, I'm sorry, something came up. I couldn't be there. Like, he's so good. He refuses to give up the identity because he knows it's what Uncle Ben wanted and it's what he should do. He's morally perfect, in my opinion. That's the thing. He's perfected his morality.
See, but
love
I will
that.
say, as far as Andrew and his keeping his identity, you see when he's tased, right, and he's trying to get to Oscorp, and he goes down, and the police are surrounding him, and the Captain Stacy unmasks him. He takes
of
out
course,
all of them hiding
Of
his
course,
face.
that's what he should do.
But
That's
yeah,
a given.
What I'm saying is, like, as far as like you say, he's being a little lax with his identity. Like,
He was
yes,
no,
I
it's
get it,
lax with the people he's close to,
right? Which
is
I'm okay.
that's the
with.
most important people. Those are people that should not know. Really should.
But
not
you're
know.
gonna you're gonna tell me Aunt May doesn't know though in Toby's trilogy?
I'm not. But
Like,
it's
come
not like she knows because Toby told her. She knows because obviously she's gotten hints and she's observing. But he didn't go out and tell her.
Well, Andrew didn't tell his Aunt May either.
I know, but I'm not saying that he told her. I'm saying is you shouldn't be telling people it. Whether they know, if they know, it's fine. But they shouldn't know because you told them. They should know because they're obviously they're making assumptions that are probably right. But
That are definitely right because who the fuck else would be Spider-Man?
yeah. But
Nobody.
so yeah, there's no freaking responsibility in that. You're not supposed to show who you are. You're doing it for the people in New York, not because you want a girl to like you.
I guess that's fair. He did do it only
And
to
so
get the
yeah,
girl.
Willem Dafoe. We'll go back to that. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin was great. The suit was a little campy.
His
I mean-
lines were campy too.
Oh, some of his lines were campy, but that's but
Spider-Man.
that's what the Green Goblin is. So you can't really take away a lot.
That was Green Goblin, like 40 years ago.
Yeah. So I get that, and what I'm saying, well, most of the comics he's like that throughout, even in the 2000s. Yes.
That's more. I would say that that's
He's
almost more Hobgoblin.
He's dark a lot, but he's never like he still always has those
He's
moments
done some
with
stuff.
the smile and.
He's done some serious stuff.
Oh, I get
Like,
that, but that's just like the Joker. That doesn't mean they can't still have their campy laughs and their joke. Like,
see, but Joker hasn't been campy in
Okay.
comics.
we're not going into Joker.
Okay, fine.
We're not doing that.
But you
he's-
brought it
oh,
up,
'cause I'm
and
just
I will
saying,
defend that.
a lot of people say that the Green Goblin is like Spider-Man's version of the Joker. People say
No,
that.
and I get that
because
because how about it's the kind of thing where after Willem Dafoe played just real quick after Willem Dafoe played Green Goblin, people were like, oh, he'd be a great Joker because
yeah.
they have a very similar.
I loved his transformation because you could see his emotional struggle.
My favorite scene in
With the
all
mirror?
of Spider-Man 1 is when Willem Dafoe
The mirror.
is
It's like-
when he's talking to himself in the
And the
mirror
laughing
with the
and
Green
the
Goblin.
boom, boom. I love that. It's so good. And he turns, I'm right here. And then he's able to just. He even said, I watched his interview. He said you can switch in a line like that in your back.
It's so good, and you see his
great.
face just
I know.
contort and turning that goblin.
He even
smile.
said he liked playing Norman more than he liked playing Green Goblin.
Well, because Norman is a character study.
so
What he is
Norman,
he's a
he was
complete,
great
complex,
Norman Osborn.
He's a complex genius who, at the end of the day, is just trying to save his company and kind of do the right thing in a certain sense. Like he's trying to do right by
That's
Harry.
it's
He's trying to do right by like Peter.
It's emotional torment. Being the Green Goblin was emotional torment
Yeah.
for him. Like he couldn't control himself. Like he would remember he would like do his thing and he'd wake up and he's just like, where the hell am I? He was in the elevator going up to Peter's apartment. Like he would just black out. It was just that it's the serum what made him insane.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
I say that was great.
Although,
So and like
as far as like Peter's spider sense and
Peter's Spider-Sense really isn't a presence. Besides, the only time I really see him use it is the fly in Aunt May's face.
which was I really liked actually.
Which is cool,
It was,
but like
it was cool.
It wasn't. I still like the ring, and then everything.
I think
like,
that's campy.
Oh,
I'm not gonna hate on it
remember,
too much, but I think it's campy.
Looking back on it, it's a little campy now, but 17 years ago, it wasn't.
And I get that.
But like that's what it is.
But-
his head lights up, his eyes light up, and everything around him just slows down, and he's able.
No,
to,
I get that. And
like-
I will say, in that that basically final scene in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, it's when he's fighting Goblin, and we see, when he does a backflip with the glider and that kind of thing. Willem Dafoe, his Green Goblin does announce it. He literally says, "Godspeed, Spider-Man," in the Goblin voice, as like.
Yeah, but
So yes, the Spider-Man,
No,
the Spider-Sense took place, but it was literally announced.
No, you even see the spider.
It was literally announced.
Because the spider sense is triggered when the blades come out. It goes ring, and that's when he's like, "Oh,
Right,
I
but
hear that.
what
I'm
saying,
jumping."
What I'm saying is the glider was it was activated way before that, and he didn't sense it at all.
It's not bad until the blades. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't a threat to his spider senses. It wasn't a threat until the blades came out, and that's when his head was like, "Oh."
But the blades came out immediately after, like it was announced, and then the blades came out. I was like, "Oh,
compared to
okay,
Amazing
that's
Spider-Man, where
bad."
it's just not a presence at all.
Okay, we do see it.
You can't really compare it to nothing. Because there's just no real
You're
presence
right.
in Amazing Spider-Man.
And as far as Spider-Sense and Andrew Garfield's actual agility, it's not on par with what Spider-Man should be. We see him do a few certain things that are kind of, agile. So like when he's fighting the lizard in school and you see him crawling around him, webbing up, like that's cool.
Yeah.
But when he's web swinging through trying to get the Oscorp, to fight the lizard in the final scene, and he gets shot with that taser, there's no reason he should have gotten hit by that.
I think that's
Like
I
that.
I don't know
that
why he
just
got hit by
wasn't-
that. That was ridiculous. Spider-Man is dodging the hell out of that.
Yeah.
And let's go to like first discovering their powers. I want to compare Toby's to like when he's first chasing Uncle Ben's killer to Andrew in the warehouse. Andrew in the warehouse. I said that was a cool take.
I really liked that.
No, I liked it. That was cool. But I still like as a just straight up discovery. I really liked because that was almost Andrew almost practicing. I
Right.
liked how Toby.
Well, it was Andrew seeing like testing.
When Uncle Ben dies, like I loved how Toby was like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait. I'm finding this killer now. And he was pissed. He got up and he ran. And he did. And when he runs down the dark alleyway and he pulls out. I love that.
I'm gonna say this though.
And he climbs the.
Hear me out. Tobey Maguire had the ability to do that with organic webbing. Andrew
which
didn't have organic
like,
weapons,
once
so
again,
he couldn't just
that was something
immediately
that
go.
I liked Andrew having that, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Andrew's web shooters.
Say.
Him
Say.
building those shows his intelligence
No,
on a
that,
whole
that,
nother
no,
level.
that, that
And
was great.
I
That
love
that was great. Yes, that was great. But I meant just not even just put Uncle Ben aside. But when he first discovers, like when he first starts web swinging, and he does that. Oh, and he's gracefully swinging over the streets, and it's nighttime, and he's chasing the truck. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, that's as Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, it's not. When he's got the human spider outfit on, and he's just swinging around, and Uncle Ben's car is ahead of him.
Yeah.
And he's just swinging, and he's jumping over the bridge, and he's like, what the hell is going on? I love that. And Andrew didn't really get that. He was like, you know what, I'm going to practice in a warehouse and then go out when I feel comfortable.
Well, here's the thing. Andrew, because like I said, he didn't have actual weapons, so he couldn't necessarily do web swing, but he did with the chains. He did test. You see him switching from chain to chain, swinging around. And then as soon as he perfects his web design, he goes on top of a skyscraper, does that dope handstand with
which, by the way,
two fingers.
And then in the fallback of the thing, which is kind of
falls.
Into the Spider-Verse kind of ripped that off.
Yeah, kind of. But we have very unpopular opinions about Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse is not
it was
good.
One of the worst animated films, actual movies that I've ever seen. I hated everything about it. But we're not going to talk about that.
It was just so overrated.
Completely, absolutely overrated in every sense of the word. Anyway, but no. So as much as him jumping off the building was not Spider-Man or Peter Parker. No, it was Spider-Man.
He's not Spider-Man until...
No, it was Spider-Man, but it wasn't Peter Parker. As much as it was way too cocky, way too athletic, I really enjoyed that scene.
It was cool.
And, the fact that he does save himself and swing, not gracefully, but more gracefully than Tobey when he first swings.
He fell onto the table.
Yeah, so.
And then, but like, once again, I'm still going to hand it. He's not even Spider-Man until...
he
not.
has the suit, and he...
No, but he's not, which is sad, because that's a real reason to see him as a vigilante, because he's not going out and saving people. He's just going out and seeking out criminals and just beating the shit out of them and then looking at their arm. Like, he's not... that's a real reason to see him as a villain, because that's actual, this guy is not saving people. He's just going out and hunting people down. You don't want to see him as an assassin. It's bad. I hated that. He's not Spider-Man until he saves Jack in the van.
Yeah, in the van.
It took him that long to realize, you
know
what?
But as soon as he did that, it was an immediate turn, and
yes.
I
did
appreciate
shouldn't take you that long. You should. He was really just. He abused his powers. He was irresponsible. He was cocky.
I agree with that.
I didn't like that at all. And compared to Tobey over here, who Uncle Ben dies. He says the words to him, and he's like, he's not Spider-Man. Like he in the beginning, he starts to be like Andrew, where he
definitely goes right after the killer.
But that's in the moment. In the moment, he's angry. He finds the killer, and then he. I was gonna say that, but let's not do that yet. He confronts him. He beats the shit out of him, and then the man ends up killing himself. And after that, he goes home. He cries. He's with Aunt May. His graduation happens, and then. He's after graduation. He's sitting on his bed. He's crying. He's missing Uncle Ben. And Aunt May talks to him, and she tells him that Uncle Ben loved him and all this stuff. And then he's like, you know what? He told me, I have these abilities. I should use them for good. And he pulls out the old suit from under the bed, and he holds it up. And then he decides, you know what? I need to do good with these abilities, and I need to do something about it. And then he becomes Spider-Man. That's great. I love that. And it pans to the shot of him swing low, and then the newspapers. I love that.
You love that low swing. I know.
And I say the swinging is Amazing Spider-Man did a good job. Both these movies had good web swing. Tom Holland, does not have that at all, which I hate. But the web swinging in those movies, just both of those movies, is great. I love that.
I know I'm going to get flack for this, and it is really a technology thing. They didn't have the technology to do it as well as in 2002 they didn't have the. It was
still great. I still think it holds up.
It still looks good, but. Oh, it definitely holds up, but I'm saying it's not as personal. It's not as intricate as Andrew's.
But I think
in that sense, I have to give
Andrew's
points
is
to
faster,
Andrew
but I think Andrew's is faster and it looks a little better. But I think Tobey's is more graceful and dramatic and beautiful from an overall web swing standpoint.
Yeah, and as far as these first movies, Tobey definitely had more graceful. But by the time Amazing Spider-Man 2 comes around, that's the best web swing we've ever seen.
Oh yeah, because that's a technology thing. But if we're gonna go off future movies, 2007.
We're not.
No,
Let's just.
what I'm saying, but if we can't say that because the Black Spider-Man when that comes along, and
Yeah,
Spider-Man
but it's
2,
still just web swinging.
it's beautiful when he first
I'm not
puts
saying
on
it's
the
not
suit
beautiful.
and he swings
You know how
down.
I feel about that.
Yeah, but I still think they're still on par with the Amazing Spider. Amazing Spider-Man 2 had that one good scene, that one good web swing scene.
And
then him dodging Electro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
all
there
of it
wasn't
was-
any in-depth scenes. That was the only in-depth.
Yeah, it was.
Toby had like what 1, 2, 3, at least 7 of those. Just like the end of the movie when he walks away. We're gonna get into that right now. Captain Stacy in this movie, he was cool. I liked how he was done. However,
An Amazing Spider-Man.
yes, well, he wasn't in Spider-Man 2002.
Well, I thought he showed up in.
He was
all
in the
three
third
of them.
one, but we're talking about the first
I know
movie.
he was definitely in the third one. I thought he showed up. Oh well, whatever.
Gwen Stacy wasn't even in the first movie.
You're
But
right.
Captain Stacy's only death wish was for him not to see Gwen. And he holds on to that wish, he for about a day.
No, it's longer than that because you
Either way.
you see them in school. He doesn't go to the
Either
funeral.
way, Gwen comes to his house, he says no. That's the best we see of that. Meanwhile, Tobey Maguire is at Norman's funeral after Norman dies and has to talk to Mary Jane by his uncle's grave as she tells him how much she loves him and how he's the girl for her. And he's been dreaming about this girl since he was in first grade. It's not like Andrew, he's known this girl for a while. He's got a little crush. He's loved this girl all of his life. And she tells him she loves him. And he has to walk away and say, you'll always be my friend. That's amazing to me.
Give me some Sayori vibes right now.
What?
You
No,
give me some
I'm saying-
Sayori vibes. You'll
Okay,
always
we're not
be
gonna
my
do that,
dearest
but,
friend. I'm sorry.
That it doesn't get. He is just the king of responsibility. There's one thing this Spider-Man has for him is the fact that he is just so responsible.
Right.
And he always does what's right.
I'm gonna say this, and I agree with you that is definitely a more Spider-Man Peter Parker trait. But if I were in Andrew Garfield's scenario,
Of course you want to, but dude, that's not.
you get the girl, dude.
No, that's what
You
I'm
do.
saying.
Like,
Cool, you get but that's not what Spider-Man is. That's what
I know,
everyone.
and I agree with you.
That's what makes him so great. Is because
But
he does
the only reason
what no one else can do.
I know, the reason I bring it up is because what I feel like they tried to do with Amazing Spider-Man is they tried to take a more, not realistic, but more modern and a more.
But okay, which is fine, but you can't. But
what's
they
the
took
word?
away the entire sincerity of that promise. Like he's like, promises are meant to be broken. Like, okay, if you want to,
but you
I
see
get
torture
if they
people
wanted to
later.
have him be with Gwen, I wouldn't have liked that. But the way they did it was just horrible. You can't make that entire. This man's dying, and he asks you just to stay, just to keep his girl out of danger and just to leave her alone. If that's terrible, it's so bad. If anything, it's more justifiable what Toby does because he has nothing holding him back. He just does it because that's his own. He knows it's wrong. Andrew not only knows it's wrong, but
It's not wrong. It's
Captain
frowned
Stacy's
upon.
death wish was for him just to stay away from his girl so she doesn't get hurt. And he goes, you know what? I got a boner. Fuck it. Like,
Wow.
that's so bad. It's I hated that. I hated that. And there's nothing that could Tobey Maguire. The fact that he's able to walk away from the love of his life and just swing out of it is just amazing to me. Because I love that so much.
All right, I'm gonna rewind a bit, and
Alright.
because we talked about Norman as Green Goblin, but we didn't really talk about Connors enough. And I just
Yeah.
want to say, the lizard CGI I actually really liked.
Oh yeah, it was good.
And something that I didn't expect them to do, but they did very well was with a higher dosage of the lizard serum or whatever the hell you want to call it. Connors, the lizard evolves, So when he first takes it, he becomes the lizard or whatever. But then when he takes a high, he says, "I've doubled the dosage," that kind of thing. Injects him, and then you see him when he's fighting Spider-Man in the sewers. You see his actual hand claw thing extend, evolve.
Oh yeah,
to-
I like how it's evolving. I
Yeah.
also liked how when he first injected the serum, I loved the effects on his arm as his arm was.
yeah.
I loved that. It almost gave me Sandman vibes when the hand was forming out, and I liked
Kind
that.
of.
But
But no,
I
my
like that.
favorite-
I like those effects a lot.
Yeah, my favorite part about that character though is the fact that even at the beginning and at in the very end, Connors is a good dude.
Oh, he's a good dude. And
he when he first, when Peter says I'm Richard Parker's son, one of the very first things he does is sincerely apologize and explain for why he wasn't around.
he is a good guy.
And
However,
at the end, he literally saves him.
I know.
He literally catches him with his dying arm. His
'Cause he that's what he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But one of the things I didn't like, well, first of all, the best thing this movie had, one of the best things these movies always had going for them is their visuals are great. So the visuals in the movie were great for sure. I love these visuals, but the lizard's actual like plot and plan was very campy. Very campy.
I will say that
we're gonna turn the entirety of New York City into lizard people because they'd be better than actual. Like that was very campy.
I say, and there was also a huge plot hole in that. He literally left his entire plan like sitting out in the sewers.
That's like a comic book thing.
So
like,
that was bad.
Here's his plans.
Yeah,
like,
literally, here's the video explaining his plans with the note, like
who are you?
drawn out notes.
Why are you documenting this for who? Like for you? Like that was a flaw.
Yeah. But some other things that annoyed me about.
By the way, how does he find out that
Spider-Man.
he's Peter Spider-Man? By the way, I didn't really like that.
The camera.
There's no way to hide,
sorry.
Peter.
Because you see the Daily Bugle newspaper puts out an ad saying, "Oh, is the Lizard Man real? Like you get money for proof." So Peter, seeing that ad, and it being the Daily Bugle, props for them for doing that. He goes down into the sewer with.
They should have done it, but yeah.
Goes down with the camera. With his camera, right? And then when Lizard finds it, looks at it, reads it, property of Peter Parker's like, oh, okay, hi. That kind of thing. So
yeah.
I kind of get that.
Yeah, he's also very smart, so.
Exactly.
I think this villain really almost compares to Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 more than Green Goblin. Like, they have a lot of similarities.
I'm going to say this. As smart as Connors was, not as the Lizard, I feel like as soon as he became the Lizard, he was extremely dumbed down.
Because almost like, actually, I'm going to say this. He actually compares more to, like, the Spider-Man PS4 Doc Ock because they're sick of their useless bodies and they want an upgrade.
Yeah. And they end up being controlled by the technology
both of them are very similar.
But the thing is, with Doc Ock and Spider-Man 2, call it, he doesn't lose any of his intelligence while he's
That's why he's the scariest, because he's so smart.
Yeah, he's ridiculously smart. But I feel like Connors as the Lizard loses a lot of intelligence points, even though he says at one point, we'll be smarter, stronger, but he never showcases that. And like, it shows that he still exists by like knowing who Peter Parker is and that kind of thing. But he doesn't go about things in a smart manner.
Yeah, he's for like a brilliant scientist. They should have gone he should have been more tactical and thought things out, and like they should have really like broadcasted that and showcased that.
Yeah, and how about this? At a very minimum, that you're still like. You still work at Oscorp. You still have access to literally every design that they have. You walk in there as Kurt Connors, get the Ganali device, load up your thing. No one's going to question you.
He should have done that.
And then literally at the top, if you want to turn yourself back into the fucking Lizard, fine. But you have the capability to literally just walk in there and your entire plan, just do it with maybe
without anybody knowing. He could have done the entire thing as Dr. Connors.
Exactly.
Instead of rampage around as the Lizard.
Right. Instead of trying to do it all as the Lizard for no good reason.
Because it was only because they needed to show that, like, this is the Lizard. He's here. Like,
I know.
Like,
it was just...
I'd say
it was unnecessary.
It would make so much more sense for him to just be
Dr.
Connors and do it
And
all.
it would also work in continuity with how long he would be the Lizard. Because we only see him, like, shoot up being the Lizard twice. The first time in the
shoot up.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, like, we see him be the Lizard when he's fighting Peter at school, and then we never see him turn back into Connors. He's just the Lizard for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, until the end.
Because
until the end when he's beaten.
Because Peter tracks him down into the sewers, but by the time, that's when Peter finds out his plan, and by then he's still the Lizard, and he's.
And I also didn't like the way he wanted to implicate his toxin, not even toxin, but the serum to the entire. Just shooting up in the air and hopefully it'll fall. Like there's wind, there's rain. Like it's the odds of it landing on everybody's so slim.
Okay, I agree with that, but I will say, I did like when Peter switched the serum.
Oh, that was dope. However, why is there an eject button on that?
I don't know, but the thing is, when the actual cloud was coming down, and you see it almost looked like blue snowflakes, and they would touch Connor's skin.
Oh, and
that would immediately change from there.
The visuals in that movie are great.
I really like that because they easily could have just made it like one constant thing, but no, they show like the specific like where he's touched it changes.
That's one of the things that this movie has going for. Is the
visuals
are definitely great. Yeah, I do like the visuals. Aunt May, let's go Aunt May. Let's compare Aunt May's here.
Well, okay. Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, Aunt May,
Rosemary Harris,
unbeatable.
That Aunt May is just Sally, whatever her name is, Aunt May. Like you just feel bad for her. She's just lonely.
Sally, whatever.
I don't remember her last name. I don't remember what it is. But she's just not like she's just there for Peter to be like.
She definitely has her moments though. Like
she's definitely not bad.
I wrote down every time that she would give. I call it May wisdom to Peter, and she does give Andrew Garfield May wisdom from time to time.
She definitely does,
and it's not. It's definitely not in the same like context.
Rosemary Harris's May wisdom always got Peter back on track.
It's not. It doesn't have as much weight to it as Rosemary Harris's Aunt May, but like it's.
We'll compare that. Rosemary Harris's Aunt May. We'll talk about she was
just to
there.
clarify. Rosemary Harris is Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yes, that's the older and the best Aunt May. And
I
would love to see somebody top that. I think it's impossible, but
I'm not gonna say it's impossible because
it
wasn't flawless.
No,
but it's also
like I'm trying to figure out a flaw right now. I can't.
I'd say flaw with Aunt May is that she's kind of only there when she's needed.
I don't think so. Which I know doesn't because like she's there with Peter. She tries to console him. Like
I'm talking just Spider-Man 1.
Let's stick to the first movie.
Yeah.
But like she's not only there when she's needed. Like she's like, want me to make you something. Like she's trying to be there for him. And then she's crying in his room. She comes upstairs. She talks to him.
Right. That's when he needs her.
But then she needs him a lot too. When Green Goblin comes in, breaks in the room.
Right.
I
get that, but
from evil. Like as a kid, I was like, oh my god, that was scary.
Oh my god, don't hurt me, please.
As a kid, that was terrifying. See him just break through and just flames and wind in her face. Like what?
No, I was always more scared of that. It was like that jump scare in the burning building when it's like,
oh my god, yes.
Turns around to the goblin. It's like, oh shit.
Help me, please. Oh, that was terrifying. He turns around, he just shrieks with that like rag on his.
Yeah,
I was scared.
That was a good scene.
See that Green Goblin. He had some campy moments, but he also had some serious that Green Goblin kicked ass.
Oh, he definitely, like I said, but I give so much credit just to Willem Dafoe for that. Like,
I do.
I can't even say that it was like good writing because
I also loved how like that movie could say it had campy moments, but like that movie had some like that was one of the best. Like I wish Marvel fights still had that gritty, that last fight was so gritty
with the torn
so
suit.
Great.
Yeah, it was the damaged suits, like the blood, like that the sweat. I love that.
Like those are the best. Like Marvel movies used to be like that. They're not like now. They're just like CGI, jump, fight, punch. Like not like I miss just
fight, punch,
nitty
CGI.
gritty, just like down to earth. Like
Yeah, and I get that. And the only thing with that is like
that fight scene was amazing.
It was good, but
and it showed that like this Green Goblin he wasn't like Dr. Connors where he was just a smart guy with an upgraded body. And also like Andrew Garfield didn't really. He got a little bit beaten, but like he got saved. Like remember he was squeezing his head, and then like Captain Stacy saved him. Like that was not bad. Like compared to Tobey Maguire, who took a bomb to the face. He was getting kicked, stepped on, thrown into bricks. Tobey Maguire actually bruised. I think he cracked his ribs when he got pushed into that wall.
That's behind the scenes.
All I'm saying is like
count behind the scenes.
No, all I'm saying is like that was a gritty. Like that really was like a gritty scene, and that. And I still think that scene is like that just shows that Green Goblin is like that villain was not to be messed with.
Yeah, and I will say though, as far as final fight, like just comparing final fights, I'm gonna give props to Andrew real quick with that liquid nitrogen. That was really really smart.
Oh, that was very smart. Yeah,
like like I said, his IQ really shines in that movie, and it kind of overshadows.
And it would have been perfect if he actually
things.
was like looked like a nerd and acted like one.
Right.
Like he was just a like. Kind of like a
like I said earlier,
a cool guy that was like really smart and didn't want to show that he was smart when he wanted.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like his wits, his wits and his IQ were so profound that it ended up taking away from the character because it overshadowed like the awkwardness. Because he would always battle the awkwardness with, like something witty, or he'd just outsmart. Like when in that awkward, I'm gonna go back to that awkward scene that I was talking about a little bit earlier. When he like first talks to Gwen and he kind of asks her out and he doesn't really. It's like, or we could, and she's that was awkward. But it was the kind of thing where when Uncle Ben, because he's there at the beginning of that scene, and he says to her, I'm his probation officer, and like that's awkward. But then he I don't remember exactly what the line is that he says, but he says something.
Probation officer.
Yeah, but Andrew says something to Gwen that like completely breaks the tension. Like it's a complete like
Yeah.
smooth like
Oh,
transition,
say,
which is
but
not
Peter
Parker.
Parker's not smooth.
Yeah,
in the
which is
slightest.
not what that should have been.
Say Toby had the awkwardness. He couldn't even speak a word. He just did that.
He just fucking looked at her and she's like,
He did that
Okay.
creepy smile. She was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, see ya." Like, see ya.
That-
I'm
that-
getting the hell away from you.
yeah, that was one of the things that I didn't like about Tobey Maguire. He did seem to be a bit of a creep in that whole movie.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Spying on her
a-
next
a
door,
creep-
taking like 50
okay, well-
pictures of her. Like,
Well, no,
yeah.
that's yeah. He definitely has some moments where like if you're a
It's like,
if
okay,
you're a
dude.
geek photographer and you live next door to this girl, it's not like if he took photos of her when she was and that's different. But like he didn't. Well, he's looking out his window like, and then he just sees her. Like that's not really spying. Like she's right there.
Yeah, but you can assume he does that a lot.
Oh, who wouldn't? What is that from? Who wouldn't? What is that's in the beginning. That's in the beginning, the very beginning, the spider scene. In the very beginning, he was like,
I'm trying to
why
think.
do you like these things?" Peter's like, "Who wouldn't?" Like that's the very, very, very beginning. Either way,
Oh yeah. Okay.
yeah, we're not gonna get into that. But no, I guess he came up with a little bit. But like, I'm gonna say, but we haven't even touched on this at all. Kirsten Dunst, Mary Jane was great. I'm not gonna like Emma Stone was really
She was,
what?
she pales in comparison to
Okay, pale in
to my
comparison,
Emma
yes, but,
Stone,
like,
Gwen Stacy.
Kirsten Dunst MJ was great. I loved how
She was
no, but
damsel in
she
distress.
no,
Constant,
but not
every
wa-
single
no.
scene.
No, we're not going to discuss her when she's in danger. I mean, her actual character as MJ as a normal person was great. Like, how her parents were rude to her, how, like, she had a tough home life, how her dad was just a complete asshole.
No, and I get that, but
And,
like
She had a very, like, tough backstory, and she did a good job of portraying that. I like that. No, I'm not
Well,
going to
that-
sit here and say that she's better than Emma Stone, but she was really good. I liked her a lot.
but like even in those scenes, she's just constantly like, "Oh, someone help me," or
No,
like she's
what?
always so.
No, well, she's on a date with Harry, and well, think about it. It's not like she's whining. Like she's on a date with Harry on the balcony. Green Goblin comes, kills 6 dudes, knocks her boyfriend out, and now she's hanging off like the side of the balcony. Yes, she's gonna be scared.
That wasn't the scene I was talking about. I mean, like literally, like when, just like through the whole movie, she's just kind of a whiny bitch.
No,
Kind of.
how? If anything, she's
Why?
like she's a very, very, very like sad girl who tries to be the cool girl to fit in. Like she hangs out with Flash, she hangs out with him because she wants to be the party girl, but she's a sad girl who wants to fit in.
A sad, pathetic girl.
She's just like, I wouldn't say like, how is she a crybaby? When is she a crybaby?
It was just the kind of thing. I didn't say cry, but it's like it was just more like, even when she was being abused by her father, or not even abused, but like when he was yelling at her and she goes outside, she's all in a mood, and then she needs Peter to pull her out of it, and it's always constantly, "Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you." It was like, "Oh,
She never said
save
that-
me,
she never said
Spider."
that to him.
It was more of a. I'm saying it was more of like an attitude. It's like, "Oh, save me, Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man's my crush." Like,
I mean,
Cool.
who wouldn't be?
I'm just
well, I
saying, like,
see why,
it's
but, like-
so overly
The chemistry between Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst was great. I liked it a lot.
I didn't like it.
What?
I didn't like it.
What did you
Not
like about
not in
it?
the first movie.
Okay, but I really loved the upside down kiss was amazing. That was a great.
Okay,
scene.
that was iconic. Yeah.
Not even iconic, but I meant just the scene was actually great because that was Peter getting a taste of what could be, and he still. That's why.
I know.
'cause it's
It
not
just
like-
goes back to your whole
'cause-
responsibility.
I know,
thing.
which is like it's not like he didn't know what it would be like. He knew what it would be like if he had told her. He knew that his life would be great in that sense. Like it definitely gave a taste of what his life could be like if he acted like Andrew, which was,
Right.
another temptation that he had, which he just blocked out.
Yeah, and it's we've kind of hit on
Yes,
the majority of what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
You want to switch? Yeah,
We're
let's
at-
just switch for like a
we're
couple
at
minutes.
we're at 58 minutes, so we got like 2-3 minutes, I guess.
All right. Well,
Rise of Skywalker trailer was a little boring. Didn't like it.
the final trailer. I'm gonna say this as far as
Hold on,
some things that they didn't.
let's just finish off. I think
Okay, yeah.
Spider-Man 2002 was still the better movie. Maybe Spider-Man 2012 wasn't bad. It wasn't anything special. It was okay.
I agree with that. It was fun and it's worth watching if you haven't, but don't expect anything legendary. And
was-
So our basic consensus
it was still Spider-Man 2002 was a better
Tobey
movie.
Maguire's Spider-Man 2002 was a better movie and with a better portrayal of Peter Parker. And that, and then just really quickly, Rise of Skywalker, and I'm sure we'll end up talking more about it as the date, as December comes closer. But the final trailer dropped not too long ago, and some things that I saw, didn't see, wanted
It
to
was
see.
boring. It was uneventful. I didn't really.
So, a couple things. I so desperately want Anakin Skywalker to come back.
Yeah, everybody does.
That needs to be.
Everybody does.
He needs to be
get
the
it.
Skywalker that rises. Okay, I am 100. It needs to be Anakin. If they make Rey a Skywalker, I'm walking out. Okay, Rey is just
I'll walk
sad
out, too.
and pathetic, and needs to not be a thing.
No one likes Rey.
Big
Yeah.
facts.
So yeah, we'll if we get any more like trailer, I think we'll definitely get more trailers as it gets
No,
closer.
that was the final trailer. That was the whole thing. That was the final trailer. And so in the final trailer, what we see, Billy D. Williams return as Lando. So that's
He's
kind of
gonna
cool.
die.
Hopefully. I mean, but some just really quick. We see Rey fighting Kylo, and then we see them working together. So whatever that means, and we know from the last
It's just
film.
another. I don't.
Yeah, we know from the last film, Kylo is kind of split on what he's trying to do.
Sorry.
We don't know what his plan is. And
Yeah.
as far as the Emperor coming back, I think that's a cop out. I think that they tried to make Snoke bigger than he was, and they killed him off way too early. He should have been much
No,
bigger character.
I didn't care about Snoke.
Right, but I'm saying they should have made
The Emperor is the
they
real
should have made you
villain.
care.
The
but,
Emperor
like,
is the villain of Star
the
Wars.
Emperor died.
I get
Like
that.
he
but,
needed to die.
Okay. Well, okay. We're not gonna. Yeah. So we're sitting at this is a pretty good run time, I would assume.
Okay,
We're
so
sitting at-
how about
so,
we might touch more on
we'll do an actual Star Wars video. This is just a little bit of icing on this
just
video.
some thoughts
Yeah.
going over
So-
what we saw.
Versus Spider-Man 2002 by Sam Raimi is our overall better. We think it's a better movie,
Yeah,
better origin movie. One of probably my favorite origin movie of all time.
not mine, but
I
his. So
That's why I said mine.
I know.
It's a great movie. Andrew Garfield did a good job with what he had. Studio wasn't great. Yeah, so
All right, so
thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thanks
we'll
for
be
listening.
back at some point. I don't know what we're
Some
going to do
point
next.
soon, I think.
Probably Monday, Tuesday.
we know what we're doing next. Well, we're gonna do some Star Wars, and we're gonna take a break from Marvel and DC a little bit because we've talked about Batman and Joker, and now Spider-Man.
We're gonna do a Spider-Man portrayal rankings eventually with somebody
At
else
some point,
with a guest star.
yeah. So we don't know when that'll be
We mentioned that.
exactly.
We don't know how when that's going to be. Maybe a week from now. Maybe 2 weeks. We don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll see. But so we're gonna try and stay away from more Marvel and DC. We're gonna hit.
We'll start dipping into.
We're gonna hit more into.
We think we're just
different-
gonna start doing overall just news videos on what's going on and
Yeah,
pop culture
so
and stuff like that.
any new news about castings from films, rumors, that kind of stuff we'll touch on.
Yeah.
But we want to do
Just
Star Wars
longer
next.
videos, not more unorganized just videos. We'll have a bunch of different topics in a video and we'll touch on all of
Okay,
them.
we're pretty much gonna do 2 topics per video, but then that's
Alright.
neither here nor there.
I
but-
like doing yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So next video we're thinking of doing a Star Wars, and then maybe we'll talk about either Pirates of the Caribbean, Indiana Jones, or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
We'll see. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. If
Yeah.
you made it this far, once again, you're probably bored.
You're
on a
probably bored and
Sunday.
got nothing better to do,
Sure.
so